Hey friends, Alvin here. We are in our October monthly Zoom meeting, and this month's topic is digital discipleship. And I am pleased and honored to have Tanya Yun, who is our Children and Family Ministries Associate. You might know her as the one who leads CBOQ Kids. Tanya and I, pre-COVID days, we shared an office. We don't do that now. And that's all good. But she has been a dear friend, one who has been studying and learning a lot about this idea of digital discipleship over the last little while. And so, Tanya, it is great to have you on this call with us.
Thank you, Alvin. It is so great to be with you tonight and to be able to share on this topic of digital discipleship. And I want to start out by saying that probably immediately we want to go right to the practical, what can I do in this area? But I'm not going to start there and maybe not even cover a lot in this 10 minutes, but there's certainly so much we can talk about on that, that practical opportunities available to us. But what I want to start with is by saying that, you know, in this current reality that we're in, we've had no choice but to approach ministry using digital technology. But I would like to offer some thoughts in these 10 minutes about why this is the perfect time right now to rethink what it means to do discipleship beyond however long this pandemic season lasts. This is something that I wouldn't call myself a specialist in, but it's something that I have been learning about, reading about, and looking into for a few years now, actually. And what I love about this season is it's kind of pushing us towards this topic in a very real way. And so I'm really excited about what will come out of this season. Of course, there is the practical, what do we do right now? But I want to start with saying that, you know, we recognize that discipleship is necessary. We know that it's necessary. That's what our job is all about. I want to be clear and make this statement really clearly right at this beginning, is that I not only think that digital discipleship is good or good for this current season, but I think it's necessary, and it's a necessary long-term shift in how we approach discipleship beyond this season even. To use a biblical expression, I think that this is a sign of the times that we have this technology available to us and these tools that we have to be able to utilize now. So now I would like to invite us to consider this as a time to innovate, to ask more what-if questions in how we approach discipleship as a whole. You know, we've learned, you know, if you've served in youth ministry for any length of time or entered into it, you know that it's kind of old hat that to do effective youth ministry, you go to where the youth are. It's why we go to sporting events or to the different things that our youth are involved in. It's perhaps why we volunteered at schools or that kind of thing. We know that to be effective in youth ministry, that we need to go to where they are, to learn about what the teens are doing, what's their lives are all about. And I think that this applies to this season now. Teens are online, youth are online, all of us right now are online. So this is an opportunity to go to where the youth are and to think about this as a way of not just doing ministry now when we're forced into being mostly online or a combination of that, but as a part of an overall strategy, long-term strategy. We recognize that even apart from current lockdowns, wherever our context may be, that church attendance is less, that youth group attendance, that finding a common night for youth to meet on with sports and part-time jobs and all the other things that people have in their lives, that it's become more difficult. And so this is where digital discipleship and having a plan for digital discipleship can really be beneficial and really maximize our ministry opportunities. The other thing too is that even when you have a youth group night or a youth event, you know, as a pastor, as a leader, you're focused on so many things. You're managing the group dynamics. There's all kinds of social interactions and things happening. There's all kinds of things going on that sometimes maybe the opportunity to learn or to really grow in faith, to enter into discipleship practices and conversations, they may be challenging. There's all kinds of things. This is an opportunity. Digital discipleship offers an opportunity to really focus youth on learning. it also allows you to kind of assess where youth are at. So you can get a sense by utilizing digital discipleship. Now, when I talk about digital discipleship too, there's opportunities for kind of the synchronous and asynchronous. We know those terms really well now, don't we? Learning it and that. So there's different ways, and there will be different ways that you assess. But this is a way for you to get a sense of what they know, what they don't know, what's interesting them, where they're wanting to learn more about, depending on what they access and what they use in the content that you've provided. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. I'm sure that you've heard this term from Alvin before. Perhaps he's taught in your church on this, about customized discipleship. That's something we talk about really wanting to look more to how the individual is developing and growing. And even in our pre-COVID days, a youth group night or an event or a church service or a Sunday school time offered us an opportunity to do a great group interaction and that kind of thing, but there's less opportunity to do the customization in the discipleship journey with individual youth. Whereas the digital discipleship plan and kind of an approach in having this will allow and maximize that opportunity for customized discipleship. It gives you the opportunity to explore one topic in several different ways. We all hear about learning styles and multiple intelligences and trying to engage people in all those different opportunities, which is, we can do our best in that, but it is a challenge to do that. Whereas online in digital discipleship, you have an opportunity to bring together different experiences and different learnings, different content that could meet the needs of different intelligences, different learning styles. And it also allows you the opportunity to track what students are learning, what they're accessing, and then to be able to set ministry goals based on data, because you can collect depending on how you set up your content. Also, another thing that's great about this is it allows for discipleship 24/7 without you working 24/7, because there are things that are not done in person or I mean online, but at a specific time can be accessed whenever the youth is able to access it. The other thing that I want to highlight is this really allows for a universal design in discipleship. Maybe you're familiar with that term. Certainly those in education would be familiar with Universal Design for Learning, or UDL, which is basically an approach to learning that reduces barriers, that allows students to be able to access the learning in as many accessible ways as possible. This really allows for a universal design in a discipleship, in allowing the maximum access. And isn't that what we want? We want access to the gospel, access for students to really grow in their faith. Jesus said, do not hinder the little ones, let them come to me. This is a way to really clear out boundaries or barriers that might exist in the in-person meetings. Not to say that we don't have those. This is something that I think should complement our overall ministry, but this will really allow for a universal design in discipleship in a much more simpler way than perhaps our environments or a church context might. This also allows you the opportunity to teach youth how to ask informed questions that matter and how to ask more questions. You can really start to help shape the way that they think and that they look. You can help them with all that's available to us, the different opinions, the respected and key leaders that are out there. You can help them to really ask the questions and to look at different viewpoints and points of views and different ways of growing in their faith. The other thing too that I wanted to say is that you can direct them towards scripture. Digital discipleship allows you to be able to ensure that you're not just basing things on your own interests or your own opinions or whatever that you've got, but you can really help to redirect them to scripture, to search out topics on their own, to really to learn how to love scripture and to grow in their own study of scripture. So this is a lot about, we haven't gotten to practical things. We could have a whole session on that, but this is all about why I think that digital discipleship is so important to be part of our overall ministry plan in this season or even long-term beyond this. And it's not about you creating all this content, it's about becoming a good curator of content. There are a lot of things available to us. There's movies, there's stories, there's readings, there's worship experiences or prayer experiences. There's all kinds of things online available to us. Lots of great digital tools and learning platforms, which we can't talk about right now in this 10 minutes because I'm out of my time. So I want to say that I would like to encourage you to consider digital discipleship as part of your long-term ministry. I would suggest that regardless of the type of ministry you're leading right now, whether you're still meeting in person, whether you're back to being fully online, and wherever we might end up, an online playlist of curated content and experiences for discipleship is not just a good idea. It's not just a good idea for this season, but it's a necessary shift forward in how we do ministry. And I think that that is something that is such a great opportunity that we have right now while we are in this season of being fully online. So I'm going to stop talking now because my 10 minutes are up. I hope that you have caught the vision, though, for exploring what digital discipleship is really all about. And I'd love to continue the conversation on the practical ways that you can implement this kind of a plan or a strategy in your ministry.
So thank you, Tanya, for those great understandings, great insights that you've been sharing. Although we didn't record the group discussion, there were some great tidbits in there as well. And some of those links that we actually talked about, we'll throw into the follow-up post as well. But for everyone else, we are thankful that you spent some time with us to look at this idea of digital discipleship. To let you know, next month in November, we're going to be looking at what exactly does missions mean now going forward in this age. And so we've got two people from Canadian Baptist Ministries, Adrian Gardner, as well as Louise Hannon, who will be joining us for that one. And so we're going to take a look at what exactly does both local, regional, and overseas missions look like in this coming age. And so we hope you join us for that. And we appreciate you spending some time with us. And if you like, you can always get in touch with Tanya to pick her brain further at tyun@baptist.ca. Blessings to you.